Hello and thanks for joining us for this KEYC News Now to Go update. I'm Jackson Jurek, and in a few minutes I'll be joined by First Alert meteorologist Caitlin Lohr with a look at today's quieter forecast and beyond. We'll start with some somber news. Murder charges have been filed against a man who was arrested following a stabbing at the Quick Trip on Madison Avenue in Mankato early Tuesday morning. As we're learning more about what police say led up to the incident, Mitch Keegan has more.
28-year-old Michael Lee Miller is charged with second-degree murder with intent in the stabbing death of 34-year-old Dennis Wojcicka, who was working at the Madison Avenue Quick Trip. Court documents say police got a 911 call just after 3 a.m. Tuesday reporting Miller was inside the store breaking things, but the call got disconnected. As officers were responding, a Quick Trip employee called 911 again and fled the scene. Police arrived and found Wojcicka behind the counter with multiple knife wounds on his neck, head, back, and leg. Court documents say Wojcicka suffered 43 stab wounds. He was taken to the Mayo Clinic Hospital but was pronounced dead. Authorities used surveillance video to identify Miller. Court documents say he entered the store with a large knife and began eating some meat and drinking water. One employee told him that he needed to pay for those items. Wojcicka told the other employee to call the police. That person went to a back room to gather video to share with police when Miller approached him. That's when the other employee left the store. Miller is then seen on security video going behind the register and attacking Wojcicka. According to court documents, Miller was arrested by the Minnesota River Valley Tactical Response Team at his home, where he reportedly asked, quote, if that guy survived. Court documents say during an interview with police, Miller said he was hearing voices and that he needed to destroy and burn everything down, reportedly telling authorities, quote, I wasn't going to knife the guy at first, I was just going to set it on fire, the place on fire, end quote.
If convicted, a second-degree murder charge in Minnesota carries a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison. Only a grand jury can issue an indictment for first-degree murder. In other state news, a Minnesota state senator accused of trying to solicit a minor for prostitution now faces federal charges. 40-year-old Senator Justin Eichhorn of Grand Rapids was arrested in a sting operation Monday in Bloomington. Court papers say Eichhorn exchanged messages with an undercover officer posing as a 17-year-old girl over several days before the meeting. The complaint says officers seized 2 cell phones, a condom, and $129 in cash. The county attorney's office said a state-charged prostitution would be dropped and Eichhorn's case would proceed in federal court. Senate Republicans announced that they will make a motion this morning to expel Senator Eichhorn from the Senate. Legislative leaders spoke out about the charges for the first time yesterday. Quinn Gorham has more.
You know, we've sent out a statement asking that Senator Eichhorn submit his resignation to the Senate. And based on the charges that we've seen today, we're more adamant in that regard.
Minnesota Senate Republican leader Mark Johnson reiterating a call for Senator Justin Eichhorn to resign following charges of solicitation of a minor for prostitution. Johnson didn't have much beyond that to add.
Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get together and discuss the situation as a caucus today. We'll be doing that at some point to figure out what our next steps are going to be throughout this week.
Johnson was asked whether members would move to expel Eichhorn later this week. He said it was an option, but that they'd had no conversations about it just yet. Still, the caucus is likely to take action.
We're putting together a 10.5 letter right now, which removes them from the committees themselves. So those will be a couple of the issues that we're going to be working through.
Governor Tim Walz also offering his thoughts on the situation Wednesday.
I've stayed consistent on that when these things have happened. I think when you're in a position of elected office, the bar is higher from you, and I hope they do that.
Walz called for the senator's resignation as well, adding that it's encouraging to see a broad condemnation of his actions regardless of political affiliations.
We bipartisanly fight that together. I see Republican leadership came right out and asked the senator to resign as those charges are happening.
In St. Paul, Quinn Gorham, KEYC News Now.
According to the jail roster, Eichhorn remains in custody. No injuries after a house fire near Mankato East High School early yesterday afternoon. Mankato Public Safety was called to the 100 block of Chatsworth Drive around 12:15 p.m. Everyone inside the house made it out safely before crews arrived. Firefighters quickly entered and extinguished the fire. A back bedroom received the most fire damage, with the remainder of the house impacted by the heat and smoke. The cause of the fire is under investigation, and damage is expected to exceed $300,000. A programming note for you this Thursday and Friday due to the NCAA men's basketball tournament on CBS. Our noon, 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. news will not air on our KEYC CBS channel due to the games. You will, however, find those newscasts on our KMNF NBC channel. KMNF can be found over the air on channel 7-1, as well as the providers you see on your screen, including Spectrum Channel 7, as well as Midco, Mediacom, Comcast, Dish, and DirecTV, as well as some select streaming services. Again, watch our noon, 6 and 10 p.m. newscasts on KMNF. Our Cato Living Show and 5 p.m. show are still set to air on KEYC. Caitlin, as we transition into weather now, are you having a bracket filled out for this year's NCAA tournament? I don't even answer the question. I know that's enough. I shouldn't have asked.
But when I do, it's usually by random, like either a dice roll or a coin flip, things like that, to make it more fun.
That's fair.
I'll participate, but I won't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to lie about that.
That's fair. It'll be a good tease for the Cato Living Show today. Natalia, myself, and Michelle Gores, our general manager, all filled one out as a little challenge. So we'll see who does the best. But going back to the weather that we're supposed to have yesterday, Tony Peregrine, the photojournalist here at KYC, and I went down to Blue Earth, and we were there until about 7:45. Not a drop of snow, not at all. We drove to Fairmont, and we saw 3 minutes of a dusting. And then that was it. That's all we saw. And you updated me this morning, and there was 8 inches of snow yesterday after we left.
Yeah, and Sean will have a lot more of this coming up later tonight, but I do want to talk about this fun fact, and again, he'll have more to back this up. But Fairmont, 1.2 inches of snow measured. 25 miles to the east is where Blue Earth lays. Blue Earth has reported 8 inches of snow.
Is that insane?
A 25-mile difference. That's about a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's insane.
That is how defined these lines were and why it made this system so tricky to forecast when we had such a wide range of a dusting up to 6+ inches of snow, which sounds absurd, but this is proof. And again, you'll see that later tonight with Sean, how defined these lines really can be when dealing with snow in these systems. And thankfully for most of us, I know a lot of us are happy that we didn't get it.
Here specifically, but yes.
Better to be prepared and not get it than be unprepared and get nailed with a blizzard. So thankfully today we're seeing sunshine out there, and that's really the story for the day. And we're going to see that sunshine all day. Temperatures rising into the upper 40s and low 50s across the area. Here in Mankato, we're looking at topping out at about 49 for the high this afternoon. Now, winds will be ever so slightly breezy, but not nearly as strong as they were yesterday. We're looking at anywhere between 10 and 20 miles an hour across both southern Minnesota and northern Iowa by this afternoon. However, with that little bit of a breeze, temperatures will ultimately be a little bit cooler due to the wind chill out there. So it'll actually feel more like the mid 40s while the temperatures are in the upper 40s and low 50s. It's not too big of a difference. What you want to pay attention to, though, are these overnight wind chill values. We're looking at the low 30s overnight into tomorrow morning. But wind chill wise, because of the breeze sticking around, we're going to be feeling like the low to mid 20s out there. Again, it's not a drastic change, but it is one that is enough that you're going to want to maybe grab that slightly heavier jacket tomorrow, or heavier sweater or sweatshirt tomorrow morning, compared to maybe something a little bit lighter than what you would normally have for this time of the year when you have these cooler morning temperatures and the more mild afternoon temperatures. And we're going to see even more mild temperatures tomorrow, but tonight we're looking at actually increasing clouds, so we will become mostly cloudy with that light breeze sticking around. Temperatures dropping to a low of 33 degrees by tomorrow morning. Now tomorrow we are looking at a little bit of a stray rain shower or two. I know this is looking like scattered chances, but again, remember those lightest greens. These lightest greens mean just a chance of a sprinkle. So that light green that you saw that is now behind me out in southeastern Minnesota and really more so Wisconsin by tomorrow afternoon, maybe just a sprinkle or two in our area. What we're watching is this chance for an isolated shower or two to develop within this area about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon from northwestern Iowa, the Sioux Falls area, if you will, to here to Mankato and a little bit northwest of Mankato. Are we expecting a lot of rainfall as far as accumulation? No. Do you need your umbrella? Not likely unless you're in far, far southwestern Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, where maybe a little bit of a heavier shower can develop. And you'll see that these are going to track southeastward through the area, scraping by southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. And again, we're just looking at a couple of sprinkles at most with that. Now, here's a look at your extended forecast today. Believe it or not, it's the first official day of spring. I feel like that's kind of like a joke with the blizzard that we had yesterday, and now today it's, oh, spring has started. But at least we are going to feel like spring with upper 40s, low 50s. A chance for some rain on Sunday. Might have a few snowflakes mixed in, but we're not looking at anything quite as hazardous as we have been the last couple of weeks with this coming Sunday.
Well, very thankful for that. First day of spring today, obviously, Caitlin. So hopefully we're trending in the right direction, and we'll start to flirt with some 60-degree and 70-degree days.
Hopefully we're out of fool's spring.
There we go. What is that, the second, third, or fourth winter?
Something like that
we've had. So that's all we need to know. Thank you very much, Caitlin. We appreciate it. We're going to transition with a sports update on Mankato East basketball.
March Madness is here, and after a dominant effort in the boys basketball state quarterfinals, Mankato East sure looks and acts like the top seed in Class 3A.
They're good at just getting people in the air, pump fake, get in the paint, find others, and make one extra pass, and all of a sudden you got a really easy look, and makes the game a little simpler.
After taking down St. Paul Harding, the next challenge for the 28-1 Cougars is a matchup with Orono, a team East faced earlier this season in an 83-77 Cougars victory.
We're pretty familiar with Orono, having played them and kind of prepped for them already.
East is spending the day off between the quarterfinals and semifinals back in Mankato to practice and game plan for a tough Orono squad. Then the Cougars head back up to the Twin Cities.
We'll come up Thursday morning again, yeah. Maybe it isn't the retreat fun thing, but we're here to win.
The Cougars' depth is shining through once again at the state tournament, and it always seems to be a different player stepping up. In the opening round of state, DeJuan Relaford pitched in 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals to help East get off to a great start.
When I go out there, I just want to lock up, play some good D, rebound, pick my team ups when they're down, and just bring the energy when they need it.
I look at him as kind of he's our 6th starter. I mean, he's a kid who finishes the games a lot for us.
It'll take an entire team effort for the group to continue this deep postseason run, as the Cougars are 1 win away from playing in the state title game for a 2nd straight year. All the action between East and Orono tips off on Thursday at noon from Williams Arena.
And we will have an update on that Mankato East semifinal game against Orono later today at KEYC News Now at 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock later tonight. So, Caitlin, fun stuff, March Madness happening. I'm probably going to be distracted the rest of the day, but I apologize in advance for Michelle Gores and Mitch Keegan. I'll be watching some basketball. It's part of the job sometimes.
Hey, honesty, that's what we like around here.
That's what we like around here. Well, thank you, Caitlin. And thanks for watching this KEYC News Now to go update. Stay with KEYC News Now for the latest local news, weather, and sports on our website.
And download the free KEYC News and weather apps for the latest headlines and forecast.